WNBA. And here is what the Fever shared. Caitlyn Clark, apparently 22 of 25 from three. Let's watch some of this together.
Caitlyn Clark just went 22 for 25 from three in her first Indiana Fever practice. That's 90%. 90%. Let that sink in. For the last 3 months, we have been trapped in an absolute toxic wasteland of corporate greed, labor disputes, boardroom politics, and social media temper tantrums. We have been forced to listen to veteran players complain about their 15% revenue shares. We have been forced to read legal documents, collective bargaining proposals, and letters from angry sports agents. We have watched the Women's National Basketball Association slowly tear itself apart from the inside out, driven by the massive, fragile egos of a union leadership that seems completely determined to cancel the 2026 season. We have been suffocating in a cloud of negativity, but today, the clouds parted. Today, the Indiana Fever organization released a short, simple, unedited video clip on their social media platforms, and it acted like a defibrillator to the absolute heart of the basketball world. We didn't hear the voice of lawyers. We didn't hear the complaints of Natasha Cloud or Brianna Stewart. All we heard was the squeak of sneakers on hardwood, the rhythmic bouncing of a basketball, and the beautiful, unmistakable, angelic sound of a basketball snapping through the nylon net. Swish, swish, swish. Caitlyn Clark is back in the laboratory. She is back in her natural habitat. She has returned to the gym in Indianapolis, and she is casually, effortlessly putting on a shooting display that is sending absolute terror through the veins of every single defensive coach in the WNBA. The report out of the Indiana Fever practice facility is that Caitlyn Clark was shooting three-pointers, and she went 22 for 25. Let me repeat that because I need the sheer mathematical absurdity of that statistic to fully process in your brain. She shot 25 three-pointers from deep WNBA range, and she made 22 of them. That is an 88% shooting clip, 88%. There are professional basketball players in this league who cannot shoot 88% from the free throw line in an empty gym. There are players who cannot shoot 88% on unguarded layups. And here is Caitlyn Clark, fresh off a cross-country flight from Milan Fashion Week, stepping onto the hardwood and casually dropping thermonuclear bombs from the perimeter with the precision of a military sniper. I want you to really analyze the footage that was released. The host of the video points out a very specific, incredibly important detail that casual fans might have missed. She isn't just shooting a standard WNBA basketball. She is operating with a completely different piece of equipment, and it signals exactly what her focus is on right now.
Looks like she's shooting a FIBA basketball. She will be back playing very soon too. FIBA World Cup qualifiers March 11th through 17th. So only a matter of days before Caitlyn Clark will be taking the floor in competitive.
She is shooting a FIBA basketball. Do you understand the work ethic required to do what she is doing? A FIBA basketball feels different. It has a different grip, a different groove pattern, and it behaves slightly differently off the rim than a Wilson WNBA ball. Why is she using it? Because while the rest of the WNBA is sitting at home, arguing on Zoom calls, threatening to strike, and trying to extort the billionaire owners out of hundreds of millions of dollars, Caitlyn Clark is preparing to put the United States of America on her back. The FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament tips off on March 11th in Puerto Rico. Team USA is assembling, and Caitlyn Clark is not just going there to participate, she is going there to absolutely dominate international competition. She is preparing her muscle memory, she is adapting her release point, she is dialing in her mechanics so that when she puts on that red, white, and blue jersey, there is absolutely zero hesitation. This is the ultimate, undeniable contrast that defines the current state of women's basketball. On one side of the aisle, you have the old guard. You have the veterans who are playing in a 3-on-3 exhibition league in Miami, complaining about the CBA throwing cheap shots at rookies and demanding that the owners open the book so they can get a bigger piece of the pie. And on the other side of the aisle, you have a 22-year-old girl who just single-handedly quadrupled the viewership of the entire sport. And she is standing in an empty gym, dripping in sweat, perfecting her craft, and letting her game do 100% of the talking. She isn't holding the season hostage. She isn't screaming into a microphone. She is just getting better, and that is exactly why the fans love her, and that is exactly why the veterans resent her. Look closely at the background of that practice footage. You see Rob Dozier standing there, the new assistant coach for the Indiana Fever, a part of Stephanie White's brand new regime. You can only imagine what is going through his mind right now. He is an experienced basketball mind, and he is watching a player who doesn't even look like she is trying, casually burying 22 out of 25 shots from 30 feet away. He is watching the mechanics. He is watching the complete lack of wasted motion. The release is crisp. It is compact. She looks leaner. She looks healthier. The heavy, exhausted legs that we saw at the end of her grueling rookie season, a season where she played straight from the NCAA championship game into the WNBA playoffs without a single break. Those exhausted legs are gone. She is refreshed. She is recharged. And the rest of the league is in absolute, monumental trouble. But this beautiful and inspiring moment of basketball purity is heavily overshadowed by a dark, looming cloud of anxiety that is gripping the entire Indiana Fever fan base. Yes, Caitlyn Clark looks phenomenal. Yes, she is ready to light up the FIBA qualifiers. But basketball is a team sport, and the most devastating pick-and-roll duo in the world might be broken before they even step on the flight to Puerto Rico. The host of the video brings up the absolute nightmare scenario that we are all currently praying is just a false alarm.
Basketball action again. Question remains, will Aaliyah Boston be on the floor with her? AB suffered an injury that Unrivaled said was a lower leg extremity or a leg extremity. I don't know what they called it. It was vague.
This is the tragedy of the current WNBA landscape. Aaliyah Boston, the absolute anchor of the Indiana Fever, the player who makes the entire Caitlyn Clark offensive engine function, was playing in the unrivaled 3-on-3 league, the league owned by Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, and she went down with an incredibly vague lower extremity injury. She was ruled out for the rest of the unrivaled season. The medical staff refused to elaborate. Was it an ankle? Was it a knee? Was it a calf? Nobody knows. While Caitlyn Clark is in the gym, shooting 88% from 3 and preparing for the Olympics, her partner in crime is sitting in a medical boot because the veteran leadership of the WNBA convinced everyone they needed to play in a domestic 3-on-3 league in the middle of the offseason. If Aaliyah Boston is severely injured, if she cannot play in Puerto Rico, and if she misses time for the Indiana Fever in 2026, the entire championship window takes a massive, devastating hit. Caitlyn Clark can shoot 100% in practice, but if she doesn't have Aaliyah Boston setting those bone-crushing screens and finishing at the rim, opposing defenses are going to send 3 players at Caitlyn the moment she steps off the team bus. We are all holding our collective breath waiting for a medical update, but for just a few minutes today, we didn't have to think about the injuries. We didn't have to think about the March 10th CBA deadline. We didn't have to think about the sports agents, the strike authorizations, or the sheer greed of the WNBA Players Association. For a few glorious minutes, we just got to watch the greatest shooter on the planet do what she does best. The host of the video summarized the feeling of the entire basketball community perfectly, and it is a sentiment that the union leadership desperately needs to hear.
I'm here for the hoops. So it's good to see Caitlyn Clark back on the floor is the overall point. And there ain't much more to it than that, right? It was a nice break. Instead of
we are here for the hoops. The fans are here for the product on the floor. We do not care about your union meetings. We do not care about your gross revenue demands. We care about watching 22 out of 25 three-pointers splash through the net. This video clip released by the Indiana Fever is not just a hype video. It is a silent, incredibly powerful weapon. It is a reminder to the billionaire owners of exactly what they are fighting to protect. And it is a warning to the WNBA executive committee of exactly what they are risking. Caitlyn Clark is the product. She is the reason the arena's sold out. She is the reason the networks paid $2 billion. And right now, she is sitting in a gym, healthy, focused, and ready to go to war. If the WNBA Players Union forces a lockout, if they delay the season, they are going to rob the world of seeing this refined, leveled up, sophomore version of Caitlyn Clark. And if they do that, the fans will never, ever forgive them. The casual audience will leave, the sponsors will pull their funding, and the entire league will collapse back into obscurity. Caitlyn Clark has done her job. She brought the eyes. She brought the money, and she is putting in the sweat equity to make sure she puts on a spectacular show in 2026. She is shooting 90% in practice. The ball is entirely in the Union's court. It is time for the veterans to stop fighting over the scraps, sign the CBA, and get out of the way so the greatest show on hardwood can finally resume. The Caitlyn Clark Revenge Tour is officially loading, and this practice footage was just the terrifying trailer.